government says it will not accept international funding for its long-delayed elections. Kinshasa says the decision is to ensure there is no foreign interference in the country. President Joseph Kabila's mandate ended in December 2016. He's been adamant elections will only be organized by the Congolese. Opposition parties are accusing him of trying to cling to power. Protests have been taking place sporadically in the country. Some of them have been deadly. The Electoral Commission says the vote will take place in December, but the country has in the past claimed it did not have the funds to hold elections. The DRC is not only facing political troubles, it's also in the middle of a refugee crisis that authorities have been downplaying. The UN is meeting today on extending its peacekeeping mission in the country. Aid agencies say that since December 2017, more than 100,000 people have fled their homes in Ituri province. There have been violent clashes in the province in the Jugu area. Tens of thousands of people have crossed Lake Albert into neighboring Uganda. There is an ethnic element to the fighting, which intensified in February. Meanwhile, the United States warned earlier this year that it would withdraw support from the DRC if elections don't take place this year. For more on that, I'm joined live from Washington by our correspondent Kate Fisher. Kate, the DRC is rejecting foreign funding to hold elections. That's raised concerns that the vote will not take place this year. Can you tell us more about America's position on this?
Absolutely, it's very clear. They're saying quite simply that if the DRC refuses to hold these elections this year, by the end of 2018, they will be reconsidering their aid and help to the country. They have said that it is not unconditional and that they have to see some effort being made by the Kabila government to rectify things. US ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, met with the president recently, and she said she was very firm, very candid in those talks, and said that those elections must happen by the end of the year, because they were fed up of the excuses that have been given in the past for the elections not having happened yet.
The DRC is facing a major refugee crisis, but authorities have been downplaying that. How concerned is the US about the humanitarian situation in the country?
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and it's only getting worse. There are now 13.1 million people in the DRC in need of help. That's twice the number that were in need of help from last year. And there's huge concern here. As I say, Nikki Haley was in the country recently when she met the president, but she also made a visit to a refugee camp, and she was moved to tears. She was crying because she said she simply didn't know what would become of the people there. She heard terrible stories of what had happened to them, and she absolutely insisted that things must change. We must not turn a blind eye to this. No one should live like this. Recently, the chief administrator of USAID gave a speech about the problems in the DRC, and he said it was an urgent priority of that US government international development arm. He said that simply it was breathtaking human suffering and it could not be allowed to go on. However, he said that help would not be as easy to come by if the government did not take concrete steps to put those elections in place.
Right, but given the kind of situation, Kate, that you've described for us, what sort of support can the United States offer to the likes of Rwanda and Uganda to help stabilize the situation in the region?
Yes, a huge number of people are drifting into those countries. In Uganda, there are already 1.4 million refugees from the DRC. And we're told that 50,000 more people have come into the country just this year, only in those first 3 months of 2018. The US says already it gives a lot of money to these countries to help with the refugee problem. They say that They've given $221 million to Uganda in the last financial year to assist with refugees and also to assist those Ugandan communities who are welcoming in those refugees. That is distributed through various organisations like the UN High Commission for Refugees, the World Food Programme and other independent NGOs to help with food, nutrition, medical supplies and so on. And again they say that they are the biggest donor to Uganda. They say they've also given Rwanda a lot of help, $24.1 million in 2016 specifically for those refugees in Rwanda. But they are calling on the rest of the world to step up as well and give more money to these countries to help these people who've been displaced from the DRC.
All right, Kate Fisher live for us in Washington. Thank you.